Welcome back to Make Good Choices Monday. I'm Becky Amio, and today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to answer some questions that I've had on some of these videos, and I'm going to address the topic of desensitization. So if that sounds interesting to you, stick around because I think it's going to be a long conversation. So CD Westernhorse commented on my last video on Making Good Choices Monday and asked if I used a tarp prior to the buoys when I was doing my groundwork. And, it was just really too long of an answer to try to explain it to her. And, she comments a lot on all of my videos. Her name is Claire Dupuis. She's from, I think I pronounced that right. Correct me if I'm wrong, Claire. She's from France. And she is a horse trainer there. Not her sole job, but she does train horses there in France. And she has a little bit different approach than I do. And we've had a fascinating dialogue on horse training since I've been making these videos. We've been friends on Facebook for a couple of years now, I think, but we've really opened up and had a great dialogue about all of these topics that I've been discussing on these Make Good Choices Monday videos and some of the Training Tip Tuesday videos. So she asked if I use a tarp before going to the buoys, and she thought that would prepare the horse. Now, it sounds really good in theory, okay? It sounds like it would really, really help and make a huge difference. And I agree. Getting a horse used to a tarp would make a huge difference in their overall acceptance of what we ask them to do. However, in the business that I am in, being a colt starter for breeders that have 10, 20, 30, 50 head of horses on the ground, they're sending me stuff generally that has a long list of a performance record or horses that ride in their pedigree, and they have proven siblings that ride and work. And they're just sending the horse to me to see if it's going to be reasonable. And by reasonable, I mean they'll ride and they want to get along and they want to work for somebody. They don't have to jump a 6-foot jump. They don't have to turn a barrel at high speed. They have to be reasonable, accepting of a rope, open and close a gate, useful and user-friendly to the average Joe, okay? If I tried to prepare each horse for the tarp, the buoys, all of that bomb-proofing stuff that you see in books and on RFD TV, so to speak, it would take a very, very long time. It would not be cost-effective to me or the person that puts the horse in training with me. And, some horses are never going to be okay with it, okay? And I'm sorry if that deflates your idea of those clinicians or those folks that are showing you how all of them can do this. Well, no, all of them are not mentally capable of handling that much stimuli, okay? It's just like a child in school. There are some that are better at math. There are some that are better at using their hands. There are some that are better at sports, kicking a ball, hitting a ball with a bat. There are some that are better at welding. There are some that are better at gardening. There are some that are better with dogs. We need to be able to recognize that in the horses, just like we recognize that in children. And I am not a parent, but I know I am very aware of what my learning style is. My learning style is hands-on. I never did well in school when the teacher handed us the book and said, read it and do it. I had to see the teacher do it up on the board, okay? That's the kind of a student I was. I also worked really well in a very small community. I didn't do well in the really large classes where you were just a number and the teacher, just knew you by a Scantron, okay? I did a lot better in the classes where the teacher knew my name and I could go up to him and speak to him personally or her personally and ask questions. So we need to be able to evaluate those kind of horses when they come in. And being that this is a business, it costs a lot of money to get those horses from the time of conception, even before the time of conception, getting them through that 11-month pregnancy on the ground, raised, sold to the buyer. The buyer has to raise them and put them in training with a competent colt starter. There's so much money that goes into making a good one that by the time that they get to me, I still have to make it economical for that particular owner. And if I were to go through all of that bomb proofing with a horse, that's why we have those horses that are worth $15,000, $20,000, because they haven't been exposed to all of that. They have proven themselves to make really good choices on a regular basis when exposed to everything under the sun. It doesn't mean that somebody's going to take them and play soccer with one of those great big bouncy balls, okay? It means that they're okay with it. They accept it. So that maybe when that person buys that horse, they get them into a city situation, and maybe when a great big truck and trailer come driving by them as fast as they can, the horse doesn't spook and overreact and run off with their new owner. I hope that makes sense. Are you following me on that? I know I went off a little bit on a tangent on that. So there are the Jeffrey Dahmers in the horse community. Not gonna lie, I come across one every once in a while. These are the horses that the hard wiring is such that you are never going to change that, okay? And you have to be able to recognize that when you're working with one. Sometimes somebody else can get through to that horse. Their approach is different. The way they smell is different. The way their demeanor is, the stresses that they are experiencing in their life are different, and they just click better with that horse, okay? That was the case with the horse that kicked me when he jumped forward when I reached underneath him, okay? The horse that we talked about last week. He gets along really good with his new owner. Nobody else rides that horse. Nobody else handles that horse. It's just that one person, okay? And I'm not saying that horse is a Jeffrey Dahmer. He's not. And by Jeffrey Dahmer, I mean those horses are hardwired. There's something missing. Just like in the human population, we have Jeffrey Dahmers, and it's a dark truth, I think, about all species. That being said, it's a time constraint why I don't do certain desensitization techniques with horses. It would take too long. It costs too much in feed. They're taking up stall space. I need to get another horse in. Client is paying to find out if the horse is going to be reasonable. I think that stuff is worth it. I think all horses are capable of working through the desensitization prospect. I mean, we're really limited by our own imagination, by what we can get done with one. And my friend Claire, she comes at it from a curiosity standpoint. She comes from it at an education, like she's studying what the horses do. She has a lot of time. Her clients and friends that allow her to work with their horses are giving her all the time in the world to make progress with this horse. And in my case, I've got to make progress. Like, I've got a month, I've got 2 months to make progress with this horse, or I've got to move on because time is money, right? And it's also energy. I'm 42 years old. I only have so many horses left in my lifetime. And we all have to go through those really, really tough ones to learn, which ones are going to be the ones that get along, that are user-friendly, the ones that are going to be tougher. But those tough ones are the ones that, make us better trainers. And those tough ones are generally really cool partners that go on to do incredible things in the arena and in a workplace environment. You know, those are your partners. But the user-friendly ones are super, super safe. That, let's say, you know, somebody who is a brand new horse enthusiast that wants to get involved in horses, that horse is going to be a perfect match for that kind of person. So I don't always do the buoys on everything. I do it on probably 90% of the horses. There are some that I just know that I'm going to blow them over the top if I put the buoys on them. There are some horses that I work through because I know that the next person in line is a tough trainer that does this professionally, and they're the next person that's going to get the horse, and they're going to be able to ride through some of their quirks, if you will. And I will call that trainer that's next and go, hey, courtesy call. This one's going to be tough. This is what she's done or he has done. It's usually a mare, to be honest with you guys. It's usually a mare. I think they have a more fight for life response than the boys do. And they tend to be a lot more aggressive. So I can give that next trainer in line a call and go, hey, this one's going to be tough. She's not for the faint of heart. You know, don't let your guard down. I got through to her butt, okay? And they know going into that horse. There has been other horses that I have worked on, and they were really tough, and I stuck it out when I should have called the owner and sent it home, or the breeder and sent it home. And I worked through them. I got them rode. I got the video. I kept them rode, and they went home, and I let the owner know, you know, be careful with this one. Be careful who you place this one in a home with. You know, I gave them a lot of feedback on how that horse developed in its training and how it worked. A lot of red flags, so to speak. I have a really good relationship with all of my owners and breeders that I work for. They know how that horse is working. They don't ever have to call me and find out if their horse is working out okay or not. I call them and I let them know all the time, good and bad. And so the couple horses that I've sent home that I knew were going to be tough, sure enough, I got either a call or a text message or a Facebook message down the line from either the next buyer or the next trainer in line going, what did you do to get through this horse? And it frustrates me a little bit. I no longer work for those clients because I tried to make everybody very aware of how tough this horse was, how tough mentally and emotionally she was to get through to. And those type of horses are not for the faint of heart. They're not for the average horse owner. They're not for the horse enthusiast. Those horses are for trainers, the people that are in the grind all the time, that have a lot of numbers under their belt. And I think we beat ourselves up as a society when the average horse trainer or average rider can't get through to those horses. You know, we really beat ourselves up. And, you know, I have tried for a really long time on a lot of horses, and there are a handful of horses that I do regret and I do think about, and how, you know, I didn't get through to that one, you know, and I had to send it home. And then now that I have a little bit more age, a little bit more time under my belt, a lot more experience, a lot more school of hard knocks, I'm able to look back on them a little more objectively, see where I could have done things differently, or if I couldn't have done things any differently. And I do kind of wonder if those horses turned out or not, because I think they just kind of went away and never did anything else after me. But getting that phone call, to go back to getting that phone call or the text message or Facebook message from somebody who has gotten the horse down, going, you know, how did you get through to it? It infuriates me that the horse would end up in those kind of hands. You know, so you can look at it two different ways. There's two different perspectives to look at this. A, Becky's a hell of a horseman. She got through to this really tough horse, right? Sounds good, right? Or you can look at it from the other person's perspective that got the horse. Who the hell trained this one? God, this one is just a piece of crap. It's wild. It acts feral. It acts like it's never had anything done with it before. You know, they asked me, what did you do? I kept it tired. I kept it tired. I was consistent. I laid it down a lot. You know, and the reality is sometimes these horses have to be laid down. And that is not for the average horse owner. And it really frustrated me. So you have to make good choices. If you're a trainer and you're wanting to do this professionally for the public, you have to make good choices in what you take in to ride and what you send out into that world with your name on it. Okay? And that's probably what I'm getting to in this whole video. And I know I talked a lot about a lot of different stuff here and touched on a lot of different topics. But I think that's something that we need to think about is, yeah, all that flowery stuff, that bomb-proofing stuff is fine and all. And it does help. But sometimes a horse is mentally never going to accept that stuff. Just like a child in school may never be really good at science, okay? But they're really good at using their hands and welding, okay? Or my best friend is really good at math, and I let her do my taxes for me because she is way better at numbers than I am, you know? But I'm really good at starting horses and riding horses, and I've ridden horses for her, and she now owns a horse that I've trained. You know, figure out your strengths. You know, practice what you suck at. Practice what the horse sucks at, and try to improve those ability, you know, that lack of ability or inability or lack of talent, or, you know, work on that acceptance, because obviously that's going to make him a better all-around individual. But figure out the strengths and work towards those strengths. I don't think the top NFR barrel racers in the world that are, you know, have won hundreds of thousands of dollars, I don't think they care whether their horse can handle a tarp or whether their horse is a good trail rider or not. I think they care about whether they can get on and make a run. You know, same with the halter horse people. You know, I don't think they care whether that horse rides or not. It has to look a certain way. It has to walk into the pen and stand up. So, you know, it's just like our I mean, I could do this for so many sports. Look at your pro sports teams. Look at football players. They don't care that guy, it can add or subtract. They care whether he can block, whether he can catch, whether he can, you know, push through the line. You know, that's what they care about. And, you know, sometimes they don't even care if that guy beat his wife last night before the game. I mean, truly, but we can go down a rabbit hole with that one too. So, all that being said, this was a little bit of a rant. You guys, please comment below and, you know, let's have a dialogue here. Let's have a conversation about this. I think it's been a lot of fun to talk with my friend Claire about some of her techniques and her approach. I'll share her information below. You can go check out her page because she posts some videos of just some stuff that she's doing with her personal horses and a friend's horse right now. And it's just kind of neat to see a different perspective. You know, she doesn't go in real hard and fast like I do. She, you know, she is a little more cautious. She doesn't have a timeline that she's working on. You know, she's working for progress every day like I am, but you know, she doesn't have a timeline, and she doesn't have to put a product out in the world per se like I'm doing. Like I'm just, you know, cranking through numbers like I am. And at some point in my lifetime, I'm hoping to get to where I'm not just cranking through numbers, and I'm able to spend a little bit more time with each individual horse that I work on. You know, try to take the time that it takes to teach them. So yeah, again, you know, I hope you guys make good choices today. I hope you guys recognize some of the things that I talked about in your own environment. Don't hesitate to leave a comment down below. Get in touch. Let's have a conversation. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Thanks for watching.